All they needed to do was open the gates, check the tickets properly, man the turnstiles properly, delay the kickoff maximum by 5-10 minutes, because that's what maybe worst case scenario, and start the match.
The season is over, and although the season ended on a little bit of a sour note for us, it has been a memorable season for Liverpool Football Club. We've just celebrated our 130th birthday, and to talk about the final and something not so pleasant about the final, we have once again with us Shahid Butt on Menace the Monk. But before we get started, please make sure that you hit the like button, you hit the subscribe button. Agar aap aisa karte ho, so we will be able to put our content in front of more Liverpool fans, more football fans. With that out of the way, Shahid Butt, welcome to Menace the Monk. How are you feeling?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So Shahid Butt, we'll start off with the Champions League final game. We'll come to the incident a bit later. What did you think about that game? I mean, we obviously spoke about it, but for the viewers, what would you make of that game?
I think basically Liverpool were unlucky. I mean, that's the bottom line. If anybody else wants to convince us Liverpool fans otherwise, I don't think that's going to be a genuine point. They looked a little jaded, naturally, but more than being tired, I thought that the injuries were very critical. The depth in the midfield isn't that great for Liverpool. If Liverpool were fresh, they were the better team. And despite all that, they were the better team on the night. Courtois made 3 or 4 brilliant saves. Just to sum it up, I mean, if your goalkeeper makes 3 or 4 world-class saves, and you have a good chance of winning the final. Now, but the way Real Madrid set up was quite defensive. Liverpool looked to do well, but the mistake on the goal cost Liverpool. I felt that they defended that goal pretty ordinarily. And unfortunately, they just lost the game. You can't do anything. This is what happens when you play finals. You can lose them.
Absolutely correct. And when we talk about Liverpool and we talk about finals, one of the places that we draw a lot of energy from, Shahid Butt, is the crowd. The traveling cop is a major motivator for us. We all know what happened. We've all read about it. But we've not spoken to someone who was there. Yes, Menace was there, but Menace didn't experience any of that. But in your words, what exactly happened? Like, would you want to shed some light on that?
Yeah, it's a long process, but I'll start with basically, look, we go to these games all the time. Okay. Exactly. I was in Istanbul, I was in Athens, I was in Kiev, I was in Madrid. I'm not trying to pull rank anywhere. I'm just trying to tell you that we have experience of going to these games. And just in general, if you're traveling to a city to watch a football match, you will not be late to that match. Okay. Yeah. That is so incorrect. It's unbelievable. What are you going to be over there for? Secondly, the fan park had the capacity of like 50,000 people, 40 to 50,000 people. It was jam-packed. So the fact that there was a fan park to accommodate 50,000 people, it's clear that Paris had prepared to receive more than 20,000 Liverpool fans. So these two lies that were told by the French government and by UEFA, 1, Liverpool fans were late, 2, there were ticketless fans there, make no logical sense whatsoever, because you actually accommodated those fans. And they're saying we didn't know who was going to come, who wasn't going to come, but it's still a showcase final that you should prepare for. So I felt that now in retrospect, the problem actually started when we got to the fan park. We got to the fan park around 1:45. Okay, we had to get in there at 2 o'clock to see the Jamie Webster set, etc., Anfield Wrap, and then we were going to head on to the stadium. So like all fans, we got to the fan park early. Okay, we woke up at 10. We had our early lunch. We got to the fan park 1:45ish. It was packed. Okay, it was packed. But some of my friends were already in the fan park. So I'm thinking, how did they get into the fan park? Because the gates of the fan park actually were kind of open. However, when we got there, the area we got to was jam-packed and it wasn't moving, to the point where I started thinking to myself, maybe it's not, my friend managed to get in from some side door and it was closed, but actually they put 2 vans in front of the fan park and they had funneled everybody through like 3 or 4 body lengths, horizontal body lengths, and people were going in very slowly, okay? They weren't even being checked. They were just basically created a bottleneck just to slow people going into it for no reason whatsoever. After standing there for an hour in the heat without making any complaints, all the Liverpool's having fun, singing, a few flares here and there, we finally funneled through and we got to the gates of the fan park.
Right.
They checked our bags and we got in and we went all the way to the front because that's how we managed. You know, it was very, very busy, but we managed to get to the front. No Sharwan, my fellow Park Reds founder, was at the front, and we got a big group of people there. And, you know, eventually my sons arrived. We had a great time. We took pictures. King Kenny came up. We were like 10 yards away from them. Jamie Webster came on. He did a great set. And around 4:45, before he even finished, so we missed the Simica song.
This is
around
still
4.
At the fan park. We're still
At 4:45, we missed the Simica song. We decided, okay, we better leave, because Jamie Webster had also said, okay, we're going to be showing the match here, but if you want to leave, you should leave around this time. This is what he did in Madrid as well. He told the fans that you should be leaving around now. So we left the fan park. Again, it was very busy, and we walked all the way, got our Ubers, went back, charged our phones, headed to the stadium around 5:30. Again, some odd things started happening. So we get to Gare du Nord, which is the main terminal in Paris. It's also the Eurostar terminal. And it was just very confusing. Like there was no translators. There was nobody to tell us how to buy our tickets. We managed to do it because the machines had translation. So we get to Saint Denis around, I'd say 6. And we 6:30. So we have like 2.5 hours to the game. And this is where kind of we got a little lucky, a little. One of my sons said, let's have pizza. So we went and had pizza. And I said, I want to get to the stadium. No, you go too early. So we didn't actually head towards the stadium from the area around St. Denis, which is like a 10-minute walk, till 7:15. Now, this is very important to understand. When you go to these matches, there are 2 rings. There's an outer ring and there's an inner ring, which is the outer ring. Basically, anybody is for touts. It's to stop the tickets being sold right outside the stadium. So that actually is inconvenient to fans, but it secures the inner area. These guys, they did not have, their outer ring was not that far away from their inner ring. It was like a mile away or half a mile, 500 yards away. And what happened was that we arrived, when we got to the outer ring, when we got to the outer ring, it was basically very, there was not many people there, okay? So we showed our tickets and we went in. But apparently, an hour and a half before that, the outer ring had become very busy, and it had become populated by a lot of the local boys and French, Algerian, French African, and they had pushed so much forward, and they had again done the same bus tunneling, and it became too much for them to manage. And because they weren't flowing people in in the right direction. Now, the thing is, getting people in the stadium is a 2-hour process. Okay, it's not a 30-minute process. If you fall behind 2 hours early, then you're going to have a problem all the way through to the kickoff. So there was a lot of people who basically said that we knew at 7 p.m. that the kickoff is in danger because they weren't flowing. So what they did is, obviously, they panicked. They didn't have enough people working. They didn't have the right organization. They opened the outer ring. When they opened the outer ring, the whole of Paris basically was able to get into the inner ring, because that basically brings anybody who wants to within one ticket check or one barrier or one turnstile of inside being in the stadium. So all of a sudden you have not just the fans with tickets, but a whole bunch of locals who are roaming around the outer area. So we get to, we went towards the store, we mulled around, there was chaos over there. So we said, forget it. We go to Gate C. Gate C is hardcore Liverpool supporters behind the goal area. So right off the bat, I saw the line was really long. I said, why is the line so long? You know, it's an hour and a half to kick off. So we get in line. I look around. After 2 minutes, I realize this line is not moving at all. So I told my kids, wait here. I go to the front, I check, gates are closed, and there's a big horde of people who are not in line, but just a majma jisko kehte hain, like a jamgatta of people in front of the gate as well. To the other side, there's another line. And so I started asking around. I went back. I told everybody, I said, listen, the line is not moving. The gates are closed. So then I went to, after 5 minutes, we waited. I said, okay, maybe, after 5 minutes, it'll clear up.
Right.
Maybe after 5 minutes, it'll clear up. So we waited, and then I went again, same thing. In fact, more people mulling around, more people arriving, and not a single steward in sight. So I go to gate Y, and I went there, same situation. I'll go back to gate A, big line. Gate A was basically horizontal. We were vertical. So it's like a circular stadium. So gate A, we could see the gate clearly, and not a single person. All gates completely closed. Okay, now it's like 7:45, 7:50. And people are starting to ask questions because they know that they might get in, but the people behind them won't get in because the rush is just getting more and more and more. So around, as the time going by, people started asking questions. Why are you not opening gates? Why not? But there's no one to ask the questions to because there's nobody there. So everybody's asking around, why are they not opening the gates? Why they're not letting anybody in? And we're talking good, I'd say around 5 to 7, 8,000 fans within these 3 gates who are standing outside, and it's getting congested too. And you got Real Madrid fans going north and south in confusion as well. So we also understood. So I went to gate A, and there was gate B was a Real Madrid gate. And I said, can I get in here? And they said, no, you're gate C, go to gate C. That was closed too. So now the panic is beginning to generate. And we waited another 10 to 15 minutes, and people are getting agitated. And some people started jumping the wall. So it's a grill, you can kind of climb up it. And I'm thinking, I'll never be able to climb up that. And they started jumping the wall, and some are getting through, some are not getting through. So we're thinking, what's going to happen? And the Liverpool fans actually at this stage were kind of trying to pull those fans down and saying, don't do this, it's going to cause confusion. Or they're trying to get the people to push back, go back and get some order, but there's not much room to go back to. So at the other side, there's a wall, and there's a wall behind us. So if you tried to, we're getting closer and closer to the wall. And so we moved away a little bit, then we went back again. And in the middle of all this, suddenly around about 8:15, they started, the riot police arrived. Okay, because the crowd, to quote unquote crowd control, and they just came barging in, batons all Robocopped up, pushing people out of the way, going crazy. We go to gate A again, try to get in there. Now, around about 8:25, I started seeing some crazy things. There were some girls on the floor having panic attacks, crying. Kids were crying. Parents were trying to ease them down, and just the people in wheelchairs who were trying to go back and forth, and a lot of confusion, and more riot police arriving, pushing, shoving, and more, some youths coming, like 50, 60 of them just running back and forth. And, my daughter's 15, starting to get a little crush. Now we're at 8:30, and there's a lot of people that are starting to cry, actually. And they're beginning to and turn back. So I told my kids, listen, let's try something else. So let's go to gate C or D. We started heading towards gate C and D, and we got hit by a wave of tear gas. Okay. And just everybody's on the floor, like mass tear gas, pepper spray. The whole atmosphere is looking bad. Riot police is just mulling around, pushing people back. And my kids just hit the ground. I didn't feel it. They felt it big time. They obviously, tear gas is supposed to make you cry, so they're got teary-eyed. They started panicking too. They said, "Let's go. We don't want." I said, "Let's keep going." I don't know why I said that. I said, "Let's keep going to those gates." Like, "Daddy, you've gone crazy." "No, we don't want to go. We stop here. We don't want to watch the match." I said, "Have you gone mad? We flew from Pakistan for this match. We paid all kinds of money for this ticket." They're like, "No, we can't do it. We can't do it. What's wrong?" I said, "No, we're gonna try. We're gonna try." So I finally settled them down, got them, a little bit normal, and brought them back in. Now, again, there's nowhere to go. Okay, there's riot police around, there's pushing, there's shoving, there's a lot of fans who are trying to push. Now, in the middle of all this, we saw there's a big concourse of stairs that go upstairs once you go inside the stadium. We saw 2 bum rushes that occurred in which people were running up those stairs. So apparently, some of the youths had managed to get in. Okay, and they basically they broke the cordon, because every now and then a gate would open, okay, for a little while just to experiment. And those locals would just break the cordon, or they would be allowed in by the stewards who were their friends, and they would just smash up all the way upstairs. And there are instances of people going to their seats and not getting access to their seats once they were in because somebody else was sitting in those seats. So we had realized that this, and then they would shut the gates again, or the gate that they opened again. So gate A opened for a little while, few people got in, then they shut it down. Finally, around 8:45, I was like, this is really bad. We're not even going to watch the match. So there was a car park area that a lot of people were going down underneath. I guess that had some access to the stadium. And there was, but it got closed off by riot police eventually.
Right.
Some valet drivers in suits were coming up through the car park area. And I asked them, I said, listen, what are we supposed to do here? Okay, we've come from abroad, we've come from Asia. What are we supposed to do? And nobody else, nobody from UEFA, no one from the French police, no one from the stadium helped us. Those valet drivers told me, listen, go to gate C, gate D, that might be open. So we rushed towards gate C, which is a Real Madrid gate, actually. And when we get to gate C, or a neutral gate, I'm not 100% accurate as to that. So we get there, and it was open, and there were a few people, it was quite busy there. So we kept on going to gate D, and there were less people at gate D, and one turnstile of the gate D was open. And we somehow, people got through. There was no ticket checking going on. They were just letting people through one by one. So we get to the second person of gate D, and they shut the turnstile. I mean, I'm on the turnstile. I looked at the turnstile. There's no way I can jump over this. So I got underneath it as I was getting pushed. I didn't even look behind how my kids got over.
I was going to ask you, where were your kids? They
were right behind me. So one of them went from the side of it because the turnstile got pushed up. So when the turnstile got pushed up, it was cemented down, but you can push the bar in a midway area if you push hard enough. So one went from the side, one jumped over, one went underneath. I don't know, actually. Next thing you know, we were faced by like the ushers, okay? And they were massive 300-pound ushers. And we got a push from behind, and there was a grill behind them. So we got pushed onto the usher, got pushed onto the grill. Some ushers had gone behind, and luckily they go get these big trash cans to put behind the grill. That was their plan, to keep people out. I had my tickets in my hand, I'm waving them. And when they went behind to get the trash can, that's when we realized, okay, we're gonna get through, because there weren't enough people holding us back. So while he was getting the trash can, we pushed through, we fell down on top of it. There's a clip of that on Sky News, and I sent it to you as well, in which we're bum rushing through. So if you see it, once we got through and we fell down, it was really dangerous, to be honest with you. There was a grill there. You could get stuck inside the grill.
Yep.
You could smash. We fell straight down onto the concrete. Could smash your head onto the concrete. And just a whole bunch of people coming behind us. They closed it, and then they started announcing the delays. The kickoff's going to be delayed till 9:15, 9:30, 9:36. So we went upstairs, and we were in the wrong section because that's where we went in. So we go to section Z. We go downstairs, and my kids were like, we don't want to go there near any officials. What if they arrest us? What if they throw us out? I said, no, we have tickets. So we eventually we go downstairs. We found our way. Now, keep in mind, our tickets were never scanned, because basically we went to get them scanned, and we got pushed over.
Yeah.
So we just showed our tickets. Nobody even looked at our tickets. We go to our seats, and we finally get to our seats. Now, when we got to our seats, we were really shaken up. So when my son's knee was hurting, he was limping. My other son had blood on his shoes. He didn't know where the blood had come from. They had been tear gassed. We've been pushed. We've been baton charged as well. And there was a lot of talk about Hillsborough. I was doing a lot of talk about Hillsborough and Heysel. In my opinion, outside the stadium, there was a combination of Heysel, crowd control, and Hillsborough crushing. It was the worst possible combination of the two. Okay, so there was a big possibility of that, but the issue was that Liverpool fans kept backing away. Didn't get out of line, didn't riot, didn't complain, stood outside, accepted they were going to miss the match, accepted they were going to be late for the match. Their knowledge of Heysel and Hillsborough is what saved this from being a disaster, because they are a unique fan base who have been through this, knowledgeable fan base. We got into the stadium and the atmosphere was very, very subdued. There were good 2,000-3,000 fans, 4,000 fans who didn't even make it. You can't tell in a stand of like 20,000 whether 10% less or 5%, 8% less. You can't tell, but it was very subdued. So listen, Liverpool, like, it's all about the support. Exactly. That's the truth. Like, the team is driven by emotion. It's not a methodical team like Manchester City. Okay. So we lost the match. We hung around and we waited to leave. Now, again, we got a little lucky when we were leaving. So we hung around for like 5-6 minutes because we wanted to like clap for Klopp. So we didn't leave immediately. Many of the fans left immediately. They didn't wait for the we didn't wait for the trophy, but we left after like 4 or 5 minutes, right, as soon as our players had come. Those 4 or 5 minutes made a big difference between us getting mugged and slashed and not getting mugged, because before that, people had gone through the tunnel that we went through. So we eventually get to this tunnel, and I'm thinking to myself, this tunnel looks really dangerous. There's police around us. It's dark. It's not lit at all. But all the muggings had occurred before that. Okay. Now, there's a lot to unpack here. Okay. Personally, now I look at the clip. Apparently, Henri referred to Saint Denis as not being part of Paris and being a little bit of a dangerous area. I understand that. The fallout has been kind of distressing to see it, to be honest with you. When I read or when I see what the French interior minister is saying, my blood boils. Honestly, I swear to God, I just get so upset at the lies that they're telling, because we were there, we saw it. They were 1,000% incompetent for them to try to say these blanket statements about fans. We left Paris. We won't ever go again. When our team makes the final in Istanbul, inshallah, next year, we'll figure out how we get there, how we organize ourselves. We will go to Anfield, which is an amazing experience.
Absolutely.
I wish everybody who's a diehard fan in India and Pakistan is able to go once. It's an amazing experience. Liverpool fans who went to 63 matches this season, had no problems, went to Newcastle, went to Nottingham, went to Villarreal, went to Benfica, went to Inter Milan, went to AC Milan, went to Atletico Madrid and had no problems, went to finals at Wembley and had no problems, go 38 times, 51,000 fans a year, go to their own stadium 25 times, have no problems, and they're talking about us. So yeah, if I sound angry, yeah, we are furious and we feel that we were ill-treated, and of course it had an effect on the match. Oh yeah, we're bad losers. What do you mean we're bad losers? We don't even lose, okay? What do you mean we're bad losers? We only lost 4 matches all season. We're not bad losers. We lost in Kiev, we sucked it up. We lost in Athens, we sucked it up. We lost in Basel, we sucked it up. Did we throw anything? Did we break anything? Did we come home and complain? Did we say we didn't deserve to lose? Sevilla deserved to beat us. Man City, just Sevilla. We didn't beat Man City. They deserved to win the league. Real Madrid, they deserved to win this. But the way we were treated was not the way Real Madrid fans were treated. I say this 1,000%. Not a single Liverpool fan misbehaved, number one. And there was not a single fake ticket that I saw in 3 days in Paris. And not a single discussion of a fake ticket. Not even the word of the fake ticket. Oh, there are fake tickets available. You want to get a ticket? Nothing. No fake tickets outside the stadium, no fake tickets in Paris, and no misbehavior. But the truth is, Liverpool fans got caught up between a battle or a convoluence or a combination of the French police and the local youths. And they got caught up in the middle of it. And that is the gist of it. And this is what really needs to be discussed.
Well, that's a lot to take. And, I'm sorry you had to go through it. First of all, Shahid bhai, मैं बहुत खुश हूँ कि you've come back safely along with your children. Of course, I've met you, I've met your children. Just a few things. Now, I have attended one Champions League final. I've been to Kiev. You've been to, like you said, Istanbul, Athens. One of the things that the French government said was that Liverpool fans, had caused similar problems in Kiev and Madrid. I didn't go to Madrid. I went to Kiev, and I know that it was like walking into a theater.
Mhm.
What do you have to say about that? I mean,
Nothing. It's this. Listen. No. Have you heard of the problems in Madrid? There was a horse, a policewoman on a horse who kind of went through the fans a little bit because Spanish police can be aggressive as well. But that happens. You go to the stadium, a little bit of crowd control, a little bit of pushback, move back type of thing. This is normal. There's 60,000 people there. Okay, Athens, there was no problems that I saw in Athens. My son was 3 years old and my other son was 1 year old. I took them to the stadium. Okay, I took my son was like 2 years. He was 1 year old when I took him to Istanbul. You think if there were problems and unsafe, would I be taking toddlers to the matches?
yeah.
There were no problems of those ilk. All they needed to do was open the gates, check the tickets properly, man the turnstiles properly, delay the kickoff maximum by 5-10 minutes because that's what maybe worst case scenario, and start the match. But they didn't even open the gates till 9:45.
Yeah.
From 7:30 to 9:45, the gates were closed. 7:15 to 9:45, the gates were closed except for like a pocket of opening for 15 seconds here or 1 minute here. There've never been these type of problems. You were in Kiev. It's a party atmosphere. People love us, and it's low hanging fruit. And this is like 90s talk when there were no mobile phones. They have so many corporate tickets. They're handing them out to people who've never even been to a football match before in their life. Okay. And they're too busy whining and dining those corporates. Right. And they have no time whatsoever to actually do their base job, which is get people in the stadium in a safe way. That's a very important point to understand. And they don't even have the decency to go onto a concourse and look at the people outside their stadium where there's a bloody human disaster on the edge of happening. Okay.
No, Shahid bhai, I mean, one thing I wanted to ask you, and कुछ चीजें बात करते हैं, जैसे मैंने बोला कि they said that we caused similar problems. Another thing, which is a very weird thing, which just happened yesterday, and it just blew my mind. Real Madrid issues a statement, and they immediately apologize. We've been talking about it for a week now. What do you make of that?
I don't know what to tell you, to be honest with you. I mean, I just feel Liverpool's club have come out. Billy Hogan and Tom Werner, they came out hard, but they need to keep going hard, okay? Yeah. Because you know what? I understand Real Madrid and Barcelona and Manchester United, but you know what? Listen, there's a lot of Liverpool fans in the world, and you don't want to get on the wrong side of Liverpool's corporate identity itself now as well. I just feel there's a misinterpretation of what is a big club and what is a small club, okay? And Real Madrid is a big club, but Liverpool's a big club as well. So why they would apologize as soon as Real Madrid came to the table and complained, and why they didn't apologize earlier, frankly speaking, the apology wasn't good enough. Okay, it does not go into enough detail. It does not. It does not absolve them at all, and it was the bare minimum. Actually, I don't think it's a good enough apology. Listen, I just spent 45 minutes to you talking about the details of what happened. Their apology should be at least 2 to 3 pages long, with some pictures, with some screenshots, with some PowerPoint presentation to show us exactly how they screwed up. That is what is called an apology. When you go through everything and you absolve us of the guilt and of the negative talk that people that tribal fans are making against us. And I want to touch on that actually.
Yes.
Basically, listen, these fans, they're dumb. Okay, they don't know what they're talking about. This is not a Liverpool versus Manchester United or Manchester City or Chelsea or Spurs or even AC Milan issue. This is a fans versus administrators issue. Okay, exactly. This has happened. This has happened in this.
It could happen to
same stadium. Arsenal fans face problems in this stadium. I think it was like Chelsea fans face problems in Lille. The United fans face problems when they go on the road. We should all stick together as an entity that we are paying public and we deserve respect, not disrespect. And
but just to close things off, Shahid bhai, let's talk about something something happy, something more pleasant. Now, Klopp has said, book your hotel for Istanbul. Have are you going to? And not in respect to what happened at the match, but I'm asking you in respect to your expectations for the next season. Are you going to book?
You know, until it's a two-legged tie, yes. I think, look, I'm sorry, Billy, but the season's going to be decided in the next 2 months. It depends on what they do in the boardroom and what they do in the transfer market. That's really where the season will be decided.
100%. 100%. Look, Shahid bhai, we would absolutely love to have you on. We love listening to you. You know that. For the transfer talk, I think we should keep for another video where we'll...
Sure, of course.
And we'll talk more in detail about that. But coming back to this, first of all, Shahid bhai, I think every Liverpool fan, I think why we did this video, and this is not for you, this is for anybody who's watching this. हमने ये वीडियो क्यों किया यार? देखो क्या होता है ना कि हम जब सुनते हैं इन सब चीजों के बारे में कि पेरिस में क्या हुआ, तो हमारा जो वर्जन होता है ना, वो हमने पढ़ लिया कहीं से या किसी ने कोई वीडियो बना दिया, तो हमें पता नहीं चलता है कि जो वहां था उसके ऊपर क्या बीती है या उनका क्या पर्सपेक्टिव है. तो इसलिए ये वीडियो करना बहुत जरूरी था, बिकॉज यू गेट टू नो someone who's like us, someone who's from India, Pakistan, who books a ticket so well in advance, वो अपने पूरी फैमिली को लेके जा रहे हैं और उनके साथ क्या हुआ वो पर्सपेक्टिव समझना बहुत जरूरी है. And like Shahid bhai said, this is not a Liverpool problem. This is not something that you can pin down on Liverpool. This can happen to anybody. So it is very, very important that we understand this and not make this a tribal thing. This is where football needs to be united. I think a lot of people have already said that. तो आप ये वीडियो जरूर देखिए, इसको शेयर करिए, क्योंकि ये पर्सपेक्टिव जानना बहुत जरूरी है कि एग्जैक्टली पेरिस में हुआ क्या एंड लोगों पे क्या बीती. तो that's all. Shahid bhai, thank you so much for making the time to talk to us.
Of course. Thanks, Nadi. Appreciate you giving me the opportunity. Really, I really appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much.
I just, we just felt it's our moral obligation as a Liverpool fan channel. हम Liverpool के बारे में बात करते हैं, और it is important that we talk about what happens to us. And when I say us, it means everybody. So thank you, thank you so much for watching. Whoever watched this, please make sure that you like the video, subscribe karo, and we'll see you soon again. Up the Reds.
Up the Reds. Bye.